Admiral Kexmore floated in his crystal chamber, his body glowing with the pale blue light that showed deep concentration. Around him, holographic displays showed images of human ships, human weapons, and human colonies scattered across the outer rim of the galaxy. For 3 years, his people had been watching and studying these strange creatures called humans. "Another primitive response," said his second-in-command, analyzing the latest data. "Their ships move so slowly, their weapons barely scratch our practice targets. How did such a weak species manage to spread to so many worlds?" Kexmore examined the recordings of human military exercises. The ships looked clumsy and outdated compared to Velthari technology. Their hulls were made of simple metal alloys. Their weapons fired basic projectiles and missiles. No energy shields, no plasma cannons, no faster-than-light combat systems. "Perhaps they breed quickly," suggested another officer. "Like the insect species we conquered in the Andromeda sector." The Velthari Empire controlled 12 different alien species. Each one had fallen to their superior technology and tactics. The crystal beings had mastered energy manipulation thousands of years ago. Their ships could bend light, their weapons could turn matter into pure energy, and their shields could stop any known attack. Dr. Park Minho was working late in his laboratory beneath the Seoul spaceport when the first pirate attack happened. His hands moved carefully over delicate equipment that most humans had never seen. The official reports said he was developing new communication systems. The truth was much more interesting. "Dr. Park," came a voice through his secure communicator. "We are detecting unusual energy signatures near the Kepler colony. Could be the aliens testing us again." Park smiled as he adjusted a device that seemed to bend light around itself. "Let them test. Are our people ready?" "Captain Lee Hanna is already moving the Taguk toward the colony. She's maintaining standard approach speed and using only conventional weapons." 3 light years away, Captain Lee Hanna stood on the bridge of the UES Taguk. She was a small woman with sharp eyes and steady hands. Her crew had trained for this moment for years, but they had to make it look like they were unprepared. "Enemy ships detected," reported Lieutenant Commander Song Daeho. 3 vessels, unknown design. They're faster than our ships." "Maintain course," Hanna ordered. "Use standard defensive patterns. Don't let them see anything unusual." The alien ships swooped down on the human colony like hunting birds. Their weapons fired streams of energy that turned buildings into gas. But they were careful not to kill too many people. This was a test, not a real attack. The human response was exactly what the aliens expected. A single military ship arrived, too late to stop the attack. It fired conventional missiles that barely damaged the alien shields. When the aliens retreated, the human ship followed slowly, eventually giving up the chase when the enemy ships jumped to faster-than-light speed. Colonel Kim Ji-woo analyzed the attack data from her office in the Earth Defense Headquarters. Yeah, it was her screen. She watched the alien ships perform maneuvers that human vessels seemed unable to match. She made careful notes about their weapons, their speed, and their tactics. "They're learning about us," she reported to Admiral Cho Hyun-woo. "Each attack is more careful than the last. They're testing our response times, our weapon ranges, our ship capabilities." Admiral Cho was an older man with gray hair and calm eyes. He had been preparing for this day since the first alien probe was detected 5 years ago. Around his office, locked cabinets contained files that most humans would find impossible to believe. "How long until they make their real move?" he asked. "Soon," Kim replied. "Our intelligence suggests they're almost ready. The attacks are becoming more aggressive." The attacks continued for months. Human colonies reported strange ships appearing without warning. Mining stations were destroyed. Trade routes were disrupted. Each time, human military forces arrived too late and seemed helpless against the superior alien technology. But in secret locations across human space, other preparations were taking place. Dr. Lim Nayeon worked in a hidden laboratory on Mars, developing weapons that shouldn't exist according to known physics. Her equations covered entire walls, showing mathematical relationships that could make most scientists go mad. "The quantum consciousness interface is stable," she reported to her research team. "We can now convince matter to behave differently just by thinking about it properly." Her assistant, a young engineer named Yoon So-young, studied the readings. On her screen, the test missiles passed through solid steel without leaving a mark. How is that possible? "We're not breaking the laws of physics," Nayeon explained. "We're asking them politely to work differently." Meanwhile, Commander Bae Sun-ho was training with his special squadron in the empty space beyond Pluto. His ships looked like normal human vessels from the outside, but they could do things that would terrify any alien observer. "Ghost Squadron, prepare for phase shift," he commanded. 50 ships suddenly vanished from normal space. They didn't jump to faster-than-light speed. They simply stopped existing in the same dimension as everything else. A moment later, they reappeared on the other side of a massive asteroid field, having passed through solid rock as if it wasn't there. "Excellent," Bae said with satisfaction. "The aliens will never expect that." The Velthari continued their studies, confident that they understood human capabilities. Their spy probes recorded every human military exercise. Their scientists analyzed captured human technology. Everything confirmed what they already believed. Humans were a primitive species with outdated weapons and slow ships. "We have enough data," Admiral Kexamore finally announced to his war council. "The humans have perhaps 300 military vessels. Their weapons cannot penetrate our shields. Their ships cannot outrun ours. They have no advanced defenses." The council members glowed brighter as they shared his excitement. The crystal beings had been looking for new territory to expand into. Human space contained rich worlds and useful resources. The humans themselves could become workers in the Velthari factories. "Prepare the ultimatum," Kexamore ordered. "Give them the traditional choice: surrender or be destroyed." On Earth, the message arrived exactly as Admiral Cho had predicted. Every human communication device received the same transmission at the same time. Admiral Kexamore's voice was cold and mechanical, translated through their universal language. "System." "Primitive humans," the message began. "The Velthari Empire has studied your species and found you suitable for incorporation into our civilization. You will surrender all military vessels and submit to our authority. Your resistance is meaningless. We give you 30 standard days to comply." In government buildings across human space, emergency meetings began immediately. Presidents and prime ministers gathered in conference rooms, their faces showing appropriate levels of fear and confusion. News broadcasts reported the alien threat, with the right amount of panic and desperation. But in secure bunkers and hidden facilities, other meetings were taking place. Admiral Cho gathered his senior officers around a table covered with files marked with symbols that would make alien spies very confused if they could see them. "This is what we've been waiting for," he announced. "Begin Phase 1 preparations. Signal all deep space facilities. It's time to wake up the real fleet." Captain Jang Woo-jin was commanding a supply convoy near the Jupiter shipyards when the orders came through. His ships looked like simple cargo haulers, but each one contained equipment that had taken decades to develop and test. "Orders confirmed," he reported. "Beginning conversion to combat configuration. All ships will be ready within 48 hours. Dr. Park Min-ho received similar orders in his hidden laboratory. For years, he had been preparing technology that would change everything. Weapons that could bend space and time. Shields that existed in multiple dimensions. Engines that moved ships by convincing the universe they were already somewhere else. "How long have we been preparing for this?" asked one of his assistants. "Since the first day we detected alien technology," Park replied. "We knew that eventually someone would try to conquer us. We decided to be ready." The aliens continued their surveillance, watching human ships move in predictable patterns. They saw military exercises using conventional weapons. They recorded communications filled with fear and desperation. Everything confirmed their expectations. They had no idea that every human ship contained hidden systems they couldn't detect, the weapons that existed in folded space. They didn't know about the engines that could step outside normal reality. They had never encountered the kind of science that treated the laws of physics as suggestions rather than rules. The 30-day deadline approached. Alien spy probes reported increasing human military activity, but nothing that seemed threatening. The humans were gathering their primitive fleet near Earth, apparently preparing for a hopeless last stand. Admiral Kexmore felt the anticipation building in his crystal body. Soon, he would lead the greatest fleet in Velthari history to claim a new territory for the Empire. The humans would learn what it meant to challenge a truly advanced civilization. He had no way of knowing that humans had learned about advanced civilizations long ago. They had simply chosen to hide their own advancement until someone forced them to reveal it. The alien fleet came out of jump space like a dark storm cloud. 2,000 ships of different shapes and sizes filled the space near Jupiter. Some looked like giant crystals that sparkled with inner light. Others moved like metal insects with too many legs. The biggest ships were as long as mountains and covered in weapons. Admiral Kexmore stood on the bridge of his flagship. His crystal body glowed bright blue with excitement. Around him, other crystal beings worked at stations that hummed with energy. Through the big window, he could see the small human fleet waiting near Earth. "Only 300 ships," said his second-in-command. "This will be easier than we thought." Kexmore counted the human vessels again. They looked so simple compared to his advanced fleet. No energy shields glowing around them. No plasma cannons that could burn through metal in seconds. Just basic metal ships with old-style weapons. "Begin the broadcast," Kexmore ordered. On every human communication channel, his message went out. His voice was cold and hard like breaking ice. "Humans of Earth, you have seen our fleet. You know you cannot win. Surrender now and become our workers. Your lives will be spared. Refuse, and we will destroy every human world until nothing remains." On the bridge of the human flagship UES Taguk, Captain Lee Hanna listened to the alien message. Her dark eyes showed no fear as she looked at the massive enemy fleet on her screen. Around her, the bridge crew worked quietly at their stations. "Captain," said Lieutenant Commander Song Daeho, "they're giving us 6 hours to answer." 6 hours, Hanna repeated. She touched the communication button. "Send a message to all human ships. Tell them to hold position and wait for orders." Dr. Park Minho was working deep inside the ship when the alien message came. His hands never stopped moving as he checked the special equipment hidden in the lower decks, equipment the aliens knew nothing about. He smiled as he thought about what was coming. "Dr. Park," came a voice over the ship's speaker. "The captain wants to see you on the bridge." When Park arrived, Captain Hanna was studying the alien fleet. Positions. "How long do you need?" she asked him quietly. "Everything is ready, Captain. We can activate at any time." Hanna nodded. "Good. Signal Admiral Cho that we're prepared." Far away on the command station orbiting Earth, Admiral Cho Hyunwoo received the message. He was an older man with gray hair and calm eyes. He had fought in many battles, but none like this one. Around him, officers from all branches of Earth's military waited for his orders. "Sir," said Colonel Kim Ji-woo, "the alien fleet is moving into attack formation. They think we're going to surrender." "Let them think that," Cho said. "How much longer?" 4 hours until their deadline, sir." On the alien flagship, Kexmore watched the human ships with growing confidence. They stayed in the same position, not moving to attack or retreat. Some of the smaller human vessels looked damaged from the earlier fights. Their weapons seemed weak and old-fashioned. "Admiral," reported one of his officers, "our scans show the human ships use simple metal armor, no energy shields. Their weapons are basic projectile and missile systems." "Primitive," Kexmore said with satisfaction. "Begin the first attack. Destroy their outer ships. Show them what real power looks like." 100 alien ships moved forward. their plasma cannons charged with bright energy. The first shots hit 3 human vessels near the edge of the formation. The ships exploded in balls of fire and metal. Captain Zhang Wujin was commanding the UES Hanbok when the attacks began. His ship shook as enemy fire passed close by. On his screen, he watched other human ships get hit and destroyed. "Captain!" shouted his weapons officer, engineer specialist Yoon Soyoung. "We're taking heavy fire. Orders?" "Hold position," Wujin said firmly. "Don't fire back yet. Not yet." More human ships died as the alien attack continued. The aliens used weapons that turned metal into gas. They fired energy beams that cut through ship hulls like knives through paper. The human weapons that fired back barely scratched the alien shields. "This is too easy," Kexmore thought as he watched more human ships explode. "They have no chance against us." The alien second wave was twice as large. 3 more human ships vanished in bright explosions. The remaining human fleet looked smaller and weaker with each passing minute. On Earth, billions of people watched the battle on their screens. They saw their brave ships fighting against impossible odds. Many began to pray. Others prepared for the worst. But in the hidden sections of every human ship, special equipment waited. Equipment that had taken years to build and test. Equipment that used science the aliens had never seen before. Captain Hana looked at the timer on her screen. 2 hours left until the alien deadline. Around her, the bridge crew stayed calm even as enemy fire lit up the space around them. "Captain," said Song Daeho, "we've lost 30 ships. The aliens are getting closer." "Signal all ships," Hana ordered. "Prepare for Protocol Omega. Wait for Admiral Cho's command." The alien fleet moved closer to Earth. Their ships spread out like a giant net, ready to catch any human vessel that tried to escape. Kexmore felt the joy of victory growing in his crystal heart. "Send another message to the humans," he commanded. "Tell them they have 1 hour left. After that, we destroy their home world." But something was changing in the human fleet. Deep inside each ship, systems that had been sleeping began to wake up. Reactors that ran on principles the aliens couldn't understand started to charge. Weapons that shouldn't exist according to known science prepared to fire. Admiral Cho Hyunwoo stood on his command deck and looked at the battle. His expression was calm, but his eyes held a cold fire. He touched his communication device. "All ships, this is Admiral Cho. The enemy believes they have already won. They think we are weak and helpless. Let's show them how wrong they are." The countdown timer reached 0. The aliens prepared for their final attack. And in the darkness of space, humanity prepared to reveal its true face. Admiral Cho Hyunwoo's voice was calm when he spoke into his communicator. The words that came next would change everything. "Release Protocol Omega. All ships, disengage safety limiters." Across the human fleet, something impossible began to happen. Ships that had looked damaged and weak started to change. Their hulls shifted and reformed. New sections appeared that had been hidden inside the old metal. Weapons emerged from places where there had been empty space. Captain Lee Hana felt her. Ship transform around her. The Taeguk grew longer and wider as hidden armor plates slid into position. New engines appeared along the sides, glowing with a strange blue light that hurt to look at directly. "All systems coming online, Captain," reported Dr. Park Minho from the engineering deck. "Quantum drives at full power. Phase cannons ready. Dimensional shields active." On the alien flagship, Admiral Kexmore stared at his screens in confusion. The readings made no sense. Where there had been 300 simple, human ships, now there were 300 vessels that his instruments couldn't properly scan. "What is happening?" he demanded. "Those ships! They're not the same ships." His science officer, a tall being with silver skin, checked the readings again. "Admiral, I'm detecting energy signatures we've never seen before. Power levels that should be impossible with human technology." But the real shock came when more ships appeared. Out of empty space, new human vessels materialized. Not 10 or 20, but hundreds. They came from nowhere, as if they had been hiding in another dimension. These ships looked nothing like the ones the aliens had been fighting. Commander Bae Soon-ho was piloting one of these new ships, the UES Dokdo. It was sleek and dark, covered in surfaces that seemed to bend light around them. When he pressed his controls, the ship moved in ways that broke the laws of physics. "Ghost Squadron, this is Commander Bae. All ships ready for combat." Behind him came 50 more ships just like his. They moved through space like shadows, appearing and disappearing without warning. Their weapons charged with energy that made the air itself hum. The aliens opened fire first, sending streams of plasma toward the transformed human fleet. But something was wrong. The shots passed right through some of the human ships without touching them. Other shots hit energy shields that shouldn't exist and simply vanished. Captain Jang Woo-jin watched from his bridge as alien fire passed harmlessly around his ship. The Hanbok's new shields didn't just block the energy, they absorbed it and made the ship stronger. "Weapons ready, Captain," called Engineer Specialist Yoon So-young. "Phase cannons locked on target." "Fire," Woo-jin ordered. What came from the human ships wasn't like any weapon the aliens had ever seen. Beams of twisted space-time hit the alien vessels and tore them apart at the molecular level. Ships that had seemed invincible crumpled like paper. Others simply ceased to exist, as if they had never been there at all. Dr. Lim Nayeon watched from her science station as her impossible weapons worked exactly as designed. She had spent years creating technology that everyone said couldn't exist. Weapons that fired pieces of folded space, shields that existed in multiple dimensions at once, engines that moved ships by convincing the universe they were already somewhere else. "The quantum torpedoes are working perfectly," she reported to Captain Hana. "Each hit is creating small tears in space-time. The alien ships can't handle the dimensional stress." Admiral Kexmore watched in horror as his fleet began to die. Ships that had conquered a dozen worlds were being destroyed by weapons he couldn't understand. His own flagship shook as a human beam hit its shields and somehow passed right through them. "Impossible!" he screamed. "Their technology is primitive. We studied them for years." His second-in-command was frantically working at his station. "Admiral, I'm reading quantum signatures from their ships. They're using technology that shouldn't exist. Some of their vessels are existing in multiple locations at the same time." Captain Han Jun-ho led a squadron of ships that could do exactly that. His vessel appeared in 3 different places at once, confusing the alien targeting systems completely. When he fired, the shots came from all 3 positions simultaneously. "This is Han Jun-ho to all units. The aliens can't track us when we're phase shifted. Use that advantage." The battle that the aliens thought would be easy became a nightmare. Human ships moved through solid matter like ghosts. They appeared behind alien formations without warning. Their weapons ignored shields and armor, striking directly at the enemy's vital systems. The insectoid Thrakne ships tried to coordinate their attacks using their hive mind. But the humans had prepared for that too. Dr. Quan Minji's psychic jammers filled space with interference that made the alien minds scream in pain. "Hive coordination disrupted," she reported from her station. "Their group intelligence is breaking, down into individual panic." One by one, the alien ships began to retreat. But the humans weren't content to just drive them away. Admiral Cho's next order was cold and final. "Pursue and destroy. No alien ship leaves this system." Commander Bae's Ghost Squadron vanished from normal space and reappeared around the fleeing aliens. His ships could move faster than light without using jump drives, simply by stepping sideways through dimensions. "Targets acquired," he reported. "Beginning elimination." The alien retreat became a massacre. Human ships appeared everywhere at once, surrounding the enemy fleet. Weapons that violated the laws of physics tore through alien hulls. Ships that tried to jump to safety found their escape routes blocked by vessels that shouldn't be able to. Move that fast. Admiral Kexmore's flagship was one of the last to die. As human ships surrounded him, he sent a desperate message to his homeworlds. The humans, they're not what we thought. They're something else. Something terrible. Don't send more ships. Don't. The transmission ended as Captain Hana's phase cannons hit the alien flagship. The great crystal ship folded in on itself and vanished into a dimensional tear. In less than 2 hours, the mighty alien fleet was completely destroyed. 2,000 ships reduced to floating debris and energy signatures. Not a single alien vessel escaped to tell the tale. On the bridge of the Teguk, Captain Hana looked at the empty space where the enemy fleet had been. Her ship's scanners showed no signs of life among the wreckage. "All alien vessels destroyed, Admiral," she reported to Admiral Cho. "No survivors detected." "Good," came the reply. "Now comes the next phase. Signal the deep strike fleets. It's time to visit the alien homeworlds." Dr. Park Min-ho was already preparing the ships for their next mission. The technology that had seemed impossible was just the beginning. Humanity had weapons and capabilities that would make the recent battle look like a small skirmish. "Dr. Lim," he called to his colleague. "How long until the dimensional gates are ready?" 30 minutes, she replied. "We can open portals directly to their home systems. They'll never see us coming." Admiral Cho stood on his command deck and looked at the tactical display. Red markers showed the locations of 12 alien worlds spread across the galaxy. Each one had contributed ships to the fleet that came to destroy humanity. "Send a message. To all human commands," he ordered. "Operation Omega is now in full effect. The war is just beginning." In the darkness between stars, more human ships were already moving. Fleets that had been hidden for decades emerged from secret bases, ships built with technology that made the recent battle look primitive by comparison. The aliens had come to Earth expecting an easy victory. Instead, they had awakened something that had been waiting in the shadows, something that understood war far better than they ever could. Humanity was no longer hiding. The dimensional gates opened like tears in space itself. 12 portals appeared around Earth, each one leading to a different alien world across the galaxy. Through these impossible doorways, human fleets began to pour. Captain Lee Hana led the first strike force through the portal to Velthar Prime, the crystal being's homeworld. Her ship emerged in the alien system like a dark angel of death. Behind her came 50 more vessels, each one carrying weapons that could reshape reality. "Scanning the system, Captain," reported Lieutenant Commander Song Dae-ho. "Detecting over 500 orbital defense platforms. The planet has energy shields covering the entire surface." Hana studied the readings on her screen. Velthar Prime was a world of living crystal, its cities growing like mountains of light. Beautiful and ancient, it had never known war on its own soil. "Those defenses might have stopped the old human fleet," she said calmly. "Begin the attack." The Velthari had built their defenses to stop normal weapons, energy cannons and missile systems. They had never imagined weapons that could ignore the laws of physics. When the human phase cannons fired, the shots passed, right through the energy shields as if they weren't there. Crystal cities that had stood for thousands of years crumbled in minutes. The orbital platforms exploded in chains of light as dimensional torpedoes tore holes in space around them. The planet's shields, powered by the energy of a star, simply stopped working when human jammers convinced them they didn't exist. Meanwhile, Admiral Shin Kyungmin led the deep strike fleet to the Thrakne Hive worlds. The insectoid aliens had built their civilization around group thinking, billions of minds connected as one, sharing thoughts and memories across space. "Deploy the psychic scramblers," Admiral Shin commanded as his ships appeared above the main hive world. Dr. Lim Nayan had created weapons specifically for this moment, devices that could jam the alien hive mind and turn their greatest strength into their worst weakness. When the scramblers activated, every connected mind on the planet screamed at once. The effect was immediate and terrible. Hive workers stopped in the middle of their tasks, their minds suddenly alone and confused. Warrior drones crashed their ships as they lost the group intelligence that guided them. Queen mothers who had ruled for centuries found themselves isolated in their own thoughts for the first time. Hive coordination completely disrupted, reported Captain O. Seungri from his intelligence ship. The aliens are attacking each other. They don't know how to function as individuals. But the humans weren't content to just jam the alien minds. Colonel Ryu Taehyun led ground forces that could do impossible things. His soldiers wore armor that let them walk through walls. They carried weapons that fired bullets made of crystallized time. "Landing zones secured," he reported as his forces appeared directly inside alien strongholds. "No resistance. They're too confused to fight back." The same pattern repeated across all 12 alien worlds. Human fleets appeared without warning, carrying weapons the aliens couldn't understand or defend against. Each species that had joined the attack on Earth found their homeworlds under assault by forces that seemed to break every law of nature. Dr. Kwon Minji led teams of scientists who studied the alien technology as they captured it. She discovered that the aliens were advanced in some ways but primitive in others. They had never learned to bend the laws of physics like humans had. "Interesting," she noted as she examined a captured Velthari crystal computer. "They use quantum effects, but they don't understand quantum consciousness. They never learned that thoughts can reshape reality. That was humanity's secret. While other species had focused on building bigger guns and stronger shields, humans had learned to think in ways that changed the universe around them. Their technology worked not because it followed the laws of physics, but because human minds convinced reality to work differently." Captain Jang Woo-jin led a fleet to the Mordaki home system, where the reptilian aliens had built cities that floated in the clouds of a gas giant. His ships emerged from dimensional space right in the middle of their capital city. "Sir," called engineer specialist Yoon So-young, "the aliens are trying to surrender. They're broadcasting on all frequencies." Woo-jin listened to the desperate alien messages, pleas for mercy, offers to become human servants, promises to give up all their technology and resources. "Tell them," Woo-jin said coldly, "that they should have thought of mercy before they tried to exterminate humanity." The floating cities fell like burning stars through the alien atmosphere. Millions of years of Mordaki civilization ended in a single day. Admiral Cho Hyun-woo coordinated the attacks from his command station. Holographic displays showed him the progress on all 12 worlds. Red markers that had once represented alien threats were going dark one by one. "Status report," he commanded. "Velthar Prime secured," came Captain Hana's voice. "All military installations destroyed. Civilian population has surrendered. Thrakne Hive worlds pacified," reported Admiral Shin. "Hive mind structure completely collapsed. Individual insects are no longer capable of advanced thought. Mordaki cloud cities eliminated," added Captain Woo-jin. "Planet surface forces have surrendered." One by one, the reports came in. Ancient alien civilizations that had ruled star systems for millennia were falling to human forces in a matter of hours. Species that had thought themselves the masters of the galaxy were learning what it meant to face humanity's true power. Commander Bae Sunho's Ghost Squadron had a special mission. They hunted down any alien ships that tried to escape and warn other species. His vessels could track faster than light, signatures across dimensional barriers, following fleeing enemies no matter where they tried to hide. "Another group trying to reach the Zephyrian Republic," he reported as his ships appeared around a group of desperate alien vessels. "Eliminating now." The aliens had no chance to send warnings. Every ship that tried to escape died in the void. Between stars, their messages never reaching their destination. Dr. Park Min-ho worked tirelessly to upgrade the human fleets with new technology captured from the aliens. But he found that most alien science was actually less advanced than what humans had already developed. They focused on external tools, he explained to his research teams. Bigger engines, stronger weapons, better shields. They never learned to change the fundamental forces that make tools work in the first place. As the alien worlds fell, human occupation forces took control. They were led by officers who understood that this wasn't just a war, it was the complete restructuring of galactic civilization. Admiral Park Subin established new governments on the captured worlds. Alien survivors were allowed to live, but under strict human oversight. Their military technology was destroyed. Their faster-than-light capabilities were removed. Their civilizations were reduced to single-planet settlements with no ability to threaten anyone ever again. Remember, she told her occupation commanders, we're not here to rule them forever. We're here to make sure they never again think it's acceptable to threaten human extinction. The war that was supposed to eliminate humanity had lasted exactly 6 days. In that time, 12 alien civilizations had been conquered completely. Their fleets were destroyed, their worlds occupied, their power broken forever. But the humans weren't finished yet. Captain O. Sungri's intelligence teams had found something in the alien archives, records of other species across the galaxy. Species that had supported the attack on Earth, even if they hadn't sent ships. Admiral Cho, he reported, we have a list of 47 additional species that provided resources or intelligence to the Velthari Alliance. They all knew this was planned as a war of extermination against humanity. Admiral Cho studied the list for a long moment. Then he made a decision that would reshape the entire galaxy. Prepare the message probes, he ordered. It's time to let the galaxy know that the rules have changed forever. 6 months after the alien ultimatum, the galaxy had become a very different place. Admiral Cho Hyun-woo stood on the observation deck of the new command station orbiting Earth. Through the massive windows, he could see ships from dozens of alien species waiting in neat formations. They had come to pay tribute to humanity's new position as the dominant power in known space. The message probes had done their work well. Every civilized species within 1,000 light-years had received the same simple communication. Humanity extends an offer of peaceful coexistence to all species who respect our sovereignty. Any who threaten human lives will discover why the Velthari Empire no longer exists. Fleet Admiral Park Subin arrived on the deck carrying reports from the occupied territories. She had spent months organizing the new order on the former alien worlds. Her work was nearly complete. Status report, Admiral, Cho requested. All former Velthari worlds are now stable under human administration, she began. The crystal beings have adapted to individual existence better than expected. Many are actually grateful to be free from their rigid hierarchy, Park continued. Through her list. The Thrachne fragments have formed small communities. Without their hive mind, they've developed individual personalities. Some are quite creative. The Mordaki survivors have established peaceful settlements and seem content with their new limitations. Cho nodded. The aliens were learning to live in a galaxy where humanity set the rules. It was a hard lesson, but a necessary one. Ambassador Lee Dongyuk approached from the diplomatic section. He carried data tablets containing requests from various alien governments. Since the fall of the Velthari Empire, hundreds of species had requested formal treaties with humanity. Sir, he said, the Zephyrian Republic wants to sign a non-aggression pact. They're offering to share their medical technology in exchange for protection from other aggressive species. And the others? Cho asked. Similar requests. The Aquarian. Federation wants help defending against pirates. The Silicon Collective is offering rare minerals for trade agreements. Everyone wants to be on our good side now. Dr. Choi Yejin had established the new Galactic Studies Institute on Luna. Her job was to catalog and understand all the alien cultures that now existed under human protection. She joined the group on the observation deck with her latest findings. The psychological effects are interesting, she reported. Most species show relief rather than resentment. They lived in fear of the Velthari alliance for centuries. Now that threat is gone forever. Through the windows, they could see one of the most dramatic changes. Where the alien fleet had once gathered to destroy humanity, a massive construction project was taking place. Hundreds of ships from different species were working together to build something unprecedented, a galactic council station where all races could meet in peace. Marshal Kim Seo-jun commanded the human forces that kept order during the construction. His soldiers used the same impossible technology that had won the war, but now they served as peacekeepers rather than conquerors. "No incidents to report," he said as he joined the group. "The alien workers are cooperating fully. Some seem excited about the project." Captain Lee Hana's ship had returned from the Outer Rim, where she had been exploring systems that the Velthari had claimed but never fully conquered. She brought news of species that had been enslaved for generations and were now free for the first time in living memory. "The gratitude is overwhelming," she reported via communication link. "Entire civilizations are sending us gifts just for ending their oppression. The galaxy is much bigger than we thought, and most of it hated the Velthari." Dr. Park Min-ho continued his work in the research stations, but now he had access to technology from dozens of different species. The irony wasn't lost on him. The aliens' own science was helping humanity become even more advanced. "We're learning new applications for our quantum consciousness techniques," he explained to the assembled officers. "The Velthari crystal technology, combined with human thought matter manipulation, is producing some fascinating results. But perhaps the most important change was happening on Earth itself. Captain Oh Seungri's intelligence network had grown to cover the entire galaxy. Humanity now knew about every space-capable species, every potential threat, every brewing conflict. "Knowledge is power," he reported. "We'll never be caught off guard again. Any species that even thinks about aggression against humans will find themselves facing consequences before they can act." Admiral Cho looked out at the peaceful construction project and felt satisfaction. The aliens had tried to start a war to eliminate humanity. Instead, they had created a galaxy where human values of cooperation and peaceful coexistence were enforced by the most powerful military force known to exist. Dr. Lim Naeon had been working on the next generation of human technology. Her new projects pushed the boundaries of what was possible even further. Engines that could move ships through parallel universes, weapons that could rewrite the past, shields that existed in tomorrow's reality. "We're not just ahead of other species now," she explained to her research team. "We're operating on completely different principles. While they're still thinking in terms of three-dimensional space and linear time, we're learning to work with the fundamental structures of reality itself." The former alien territories had become examples of what the galaxy could be under human guidance. Species that had once been enemies were now working together on joint projects. Technologies were being shared freely. Art and culture flowed between worlds that had never communicated before the human conquest. Commander Bae Sun-ho's Ghost Squadron had evolved into something new, a rapid response force that could appear anywhere in the galaxy within minutes. They had become the guardians of peace, stopping conflicts before they could escalate into wars. "Peaceful coexistence through superior firepower," he joked to his squadron. But the joke contained truth. The galaxy was more peaceful now because everyone knew that humanity could end any conflict quickly and decisively. As the months passed, a new generation of humans grew up in this transformed galaxy. Children who learned alien languages alongside their own. Students who studied the sciences of a dozen different species. Artists who collaborated with beings from across the stars. The memorial to the original alien attack stood in the center of New Geneva. It honored the human ships and crews that had died in the first wave of the conflict. But it also contained a message for future generations. Never again will humanity be caught unprepared. Never again will our enemies mistake our patience for weakness. Dr. Park Min-ho's final log entry, recorded 6 months after the war, became part of the official historical record. They wanted to start a war to take human lives. They believed we were weak because we chose peace over aggression. They thought our technology was primitive because we didn't display our true capabilities. Instead, they learned why wars against humanity always end the same way, with humanity still standing and our enemies wondering why they ever thought we were weak. The entry continued. We are not conquerors. We are not an empire built on oppression. We are teachers, showing the galaxy what civilization can become when guided by wisdom rather than fear. The aliens gave us a choice, submit or fight. We chose a third option, reshape the galaxy into something better than it was before. Admiral Cho's final order of the day was simple but profound. Continue the watch. Protect the innocent. Maintain the peace. And remember, humanity's greatest weapon was never our technology. It was our refusal to accept that things had to stay the way they were. The galaxy had learned its lesson. Humanity was no longer the young species hiding in the outer rim. They were the guardians of galactic civilization, the arbiters of justice, and the force that stood between peace and chaos. The war that was meant to end humanity had instead begun humanity's age as the galaxy's protectors. And in the quiet spaces, between the stars, other species whispered stories of the day. The humans revealed their true nature, not as victims, but as the force that would reshape the universe itself.